3. Tonight we are short of resource of doing the video and the audio. So when you see somebody step up, we're going to be doing a thumbs up so we can sync our two systems together, since John has to do everything by themselves. We thought it was very, very important that we get a video capture of the event based on all the things that are going on. So that's what...
They can't hear you.
You cannot hear.
Let me see if I can hear. I'm going to go next.
Okay. I'm going to talk like this, like I'm going to eat the end of this.
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Okay, John? Okay. Cut all that. That was all test. You know what's going on. And I'm going to introduce Michelle.
Okay, can you hear me? All righty. Good evening, Sun Lakes residents, and welcome to Sun Lakers for Accountability, second informational meeting. My name is Michelle Walter, for those of you that do not know me. Before we get started this evening, could you please silence your cell phones? Take a minute to silence your cell phones. And then I'm going to have everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Sun Lakers for Accountability would like to thank you for the time for being here again. We have had an overwhelming support of what Sun Lakers for Accountability stands for and the initiatives we presented last month. We have had a significant number of requests to be added to our e-blast email list. We have also responded to over 100 questions turned in or submitted via the website. Each person received a personal response and were posted anonymously on the website for all members to review and consider. Again, we thank you for taking the time to be here. We take it as a sign that you are concerned and not complacent, as many seem to think we are. Before proceeding with our program this evening, I would like to remind everyone about the purpose of the Sun Lakers for Accountability by reading the mission statement posted on our website. Our mission is to promote accountability, transparency, fiscal responsibility, and compliance with governing requirements within the Sun Lakes community. We are committed to ensuring that homeowners have access to accurate, factual information regarding matters that affect the community's finances, governance, facilities, and long-term sustainability. Through research, education, and communication, we seek to empower homeowners to participate meaningfully in community governance and to encourage board decisions that reflect the best interests of the membership as a whole. We support effective leadership, responsible stewardship of community resources, and a culture of openness, integrity in all community affairs. We are nonpartisan and issue-focused, seeking constructive solutions that strengthen community governance and preserve the long-time value of Sun Lakes. Before we proceed, I would like to encourage you to submit any questions you may have to our website, slcc-sla.org. Now I would like to introduce Bob Hicks.
Good evening, Sun Lakers. My name is Bob Hicks, and I live on the north side. This is Mr. Ken Johnson, who lives on Birdie Drive. I'd like to briefly update everyone on the recall process and then focus on what we believe is the larger issue facing our community. The recall petition has been filed successfully. Election inspectors have been selected, and homeowners will soon receive information regarding the election process. There will be an appropriate time to fully discuss the reasons for the recall at a later date. Regarding litigation, if the board does not demonstrate appropriate due diligence, we are prepared to pursue appropriate actions to protect the association. Tonight, I'd like to focus on the broader issues of governance and fiduciary responsibility because they affect every homeowner, especially when it comes to decisions involving millions of dollars. Let me be clear. We are not opposed to considering a new management company. If another company can provide better service, stronger management, or better value for our community, it deserves fair consideration. The real question is how a decision of this magnitude should be made. Every homeowner has the right to expect that the board follows a careful, transparent, and well-documented decision-making process. Most homeowners don't spend much time thinking about contracts, and that's the way it should be in a retirement community, or purchasing processes until a major decision that could adversely affect us hits us in the face. Our goal is to improve awareness and ensure that important decisions are made in a way that earns the confidence of every homeowner. Sound decisions begin with a sound process. A responsible process should include clearly define the community's needs, give qualified companies an equal opportunity to compete, provide each company with the same information, compare both costs and overall value, carefully evaluate financial, operational, and business risks, document why the final decision was made, and finally select the option that is demonstrably in the community's best interest. It isn't about politics, it's simply good governance and good business. Why are we concerned? Our concerns did not begin with the current management company discussion. Over the past several years, we have seen a number of situations that have raised questions about how our major contracts and important decisions have been evaluated and approved. These include an effort by several Financial Advisory Committee members in 2023 to seek proposals from management companies without even having board authority. Questions surrounding the Morrison CCL agreement. Questions about how advisory committee recommendations have been handled. Ongoing concerns about whether the Procurement Advisory Committee has been given the independence and information needed to effectively advise the board. While reestablishing the Procurement Advisory Committee was a positive step, many homeowners continue to ask whether it has been allowed to perform its intended purpose. And then there's a matter of something that recently occurred called an internal dispute resolution. The concerns stated above led Mr. Varner and me to request an internal dispute resolution meeting, referred to as IDR. During our June 29th meeting with Mr. Goralnik, who is the HOA's attorney, and Mr. Burkle and Ms. Tasco, we discussed what we believe are significant weaknesses in the management company's selection process and concerns about how the Procurement Advisory Committee was formed and has operated. During the meeting, we learned that the attorney's review of the Morrison CCL agreement was limited to legal issues, meaning just looking at it as a contractual form. Legal review is important, but having an attorney determine whether a contract is legally acceptable is different from determining whether it is a good business decision. The major contracts should receive careful financial, operational, and risk analysis before they are approved. Mr. Goralnik requested copies of reports we previously submitted to the board and encouraged both sides to engage in additional discussion with the full board present as a means to resolve our dispute. The meeting ended without any commitment or direction, and to date we have heard nothing further. This leads to an important question. Who, say it again, who is responsible for ensuring that major agreements receive not only legal review, but also the business and financial analysis to protect our homeowners? This should not be about personalities or authority. Rather, it should be about one simple question: are major financial decisions being made through a process designed to produce the best outcome for homeowners? We will post a summary of this June 29th meeting with Mr. Goralnik, Burkle, and Ms. Tasco on our website for you to see more detail. In closing, the board has both the authority and responsibility to make difficult decisions. Homeowners also have the right to expect that the decisions involving millions of dollars will be made through a process that is competitive, transparent, professionally managed, carefully evaluated, and well documented. If the process is sound, homeowners can have confidence in the outcome, even if you don't agree with it. We cannot support, nor should we be expected to accept, a process that is unnecessarily secretive in nature, designed to prevent scrutiny until after the contract has been signed. What's the point then? The Morrison CCL agreement is proof enough to warrant a major change in board process. Finally, selecting the management company is only one of the board's many responsibilities, such as budget initiative development and planning, reserve forecasting, planning and funding, long-range planning, and oversight of advisory committees. All deserve the same disciplined approach, but we have heard little to nothing about any of them during the past 4 months. Thank you very much. Excuse me, next up is Paul Beeks.
Are we good? Thank you for being here tonight. We thought it would be interesting if we could invite a few different speakers that have lived within Troon, within their communities, been part of their golf courses, just to give you kind of a living example of what they experience. Maybe, just maybe, we would experience the same exact thing. I don't know. But tonight we have a gentleman here by the name of Mr. Ken Perillo. He lives in my district, District 14, and I'll turn it over to Ken.
Thank you. Karen and I moved here just about a year ago. And just so you know, we've been coming here for over 30 years because my mother-in-law and father-in-law lived in Sun Lakes for that long. So I'm not here to diminish Troon's expertise in what they do. They are one of the largest management companies in the world and emphasize the word golf management, okay? I can only share my personal experience. From 2018 to 2020, I was representing the ownership group at Laughlin Ranch Golf Course in Bullhead City, Arizona. The ownership didn't know anything about golf, so they hired a manager, which didn't work out. So next they went to Troon. When they hired Troon, like any management company, like any transition, it took some time. The owners were contributing between $60,000 and $100,000 per month to support the operations. After about 6 months, the fees and timings and golf carts prices, all that increased. While Troon made efforts to improve operations, the financial result were not what the owners expected. That being said, it was important to recognize that Laughlin Ranch and Sun Lakes are two different communities. Laughlin Ranch was a community that was the golf was not run by the HOA. It was independent from the HOA. So everything that was generated from the golf was Troon's. The ownership didn't have anything to do with that. Unfortunately, that relied on the revenue that the golf course was producing. Now, I understand that the golf course here is producing pretty well, but in the same token, if you're clicking $100 to $60 to $100,000 a month, it's not going to do that well. Anyway, I'm suggesting that in time, what happened to Sun Lakes, my personal is simply to encourage people to question, gather information, and make information decisions based on unique circumstances of our community. I would also like to share my experience when I recently attended one of the Coffee with the Board meetings. At the beginning of the meeting, the board president asked those in attendance which amenity was the community's largest source of revenue. And the majority of the people present agreed that it was golf. When I had the opportunity to ask a question, I asked whether if golf was the primary generator, could it support the cost of hiring Troon to manage our golf course operation? In response, the board was not, that they could not commit. Then I asked if they meant an additional management cost would ultimately become responsibility of the HOA. Their answer was yes. Okay, I don't know that everyone here can afford increases in the HOA and the amenities and all of that, but based on that decision, it appears that Troon would likely need management not only for the golf operation, but also for restaurants, the lounge, and all the other amenities that Sun Lakes has. To make the arrangement practical, financially practical for Troon, they would have to take over the whole operation. It's a given. My experience with Troon was the operations manager that was with us, JC, he worked for Troon. They brought in some managers. They kind of turned it over many, many times. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out for the ownership. So my argument is if what Troon is going to do here and take over all of our operations, how expensive is that going to be for everyone? Really, and I can't see any reason why it won't increase. Our dues, our fees won't increase. I just don't see it. They're a very professional company, don't get me wrong. They're very good at what they do at golf management. I watched them work our restaurant, our spa. We had a beautiful spa, and all the other amenities that we had. They just didn't generate the income to support a beautiful golf course. This is a PGA designed golf course. Has anyone ever been to Laughlin Ranch Golf Course? Michelle, you know then. Okay, it's a beautiful course. My office is still there. So I think the preferred approach would be to take a step back. Let the people know what we want or what we need. You know, I don't even know, because we haven't been here that long, I don't even know how this all arose, because when I asked the president if, let me just get to my note. I want to make sure I pronounce this properly here for you. Okay, when I asked the president, he mentioned at the beginning of the meeting that that he's a businessman, and he feels that one company running the whole operation would be a better fit for us. Well, isn't that what we had? It is? I don't know, because I'm in the middle here. So if it was run efficiently with one company, why are we going back that way? Now, Laughlin Ranch has changed. It's turned over. A new owner bought the property, a good friend, and he has turned it around. All right, he's made the proper communication to all the casinos that are in Laughlin and Bullhead, and he's generated a lot of revenue for Laughlin Ranch now, and it's working very well. That being said, I don't see that happening here, okay? And if you're going to consider new management, other than Troon, I would do what Laughlin Ranch did. They hired a golf management person, not a company, but a person who could manage the golf course and take care of it. By the way, Is our golf course in real bad shape? No. Okay. Troon's expertise is to making a golf course better. If we're already good, what are we going to pay for? I mean, what are they going to improve? Honestly, what are they going to improve? Because as far as restaurants and all that goes, maybe they might have an inn to get discounts on food and all that, but it's just not going to work. This is a private community. People need to have a set amount of what they're paying every month. This is what it is. It's a retirement community. So I think that also I understand that Troom is in the process of selling or considering. Well, they're not selling, okay? Just 2 of their investors are considering selling off their shares, okay? Which in turn will mean new management, new ideas. I don't think Sun Lakes is ready for a transition like that, especially if Troon is regrouping, redesigning themselves, you know. I don't have anything else to say, but I really am concerned about having another management company come in here, especially now, because how long is it FSR? Yeah. How long has FSR been here? 8 years. 8 years. And from what I understand, from what I've been told, is they overcharged us exorbitant money. I'm not sure if that's true or not. It's not. Okay. So, again, why are we looking for something, and who has decided to look for this? Who has decided to look for these management companies? If we're doing okay, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Thank you.
So there was a gentleman that spoke at the Coffee with the Board about a week or so ago. His name is Mark Villarreal. And I got a hold of Mark and asked him to speak here tonight. He couldn't make it. It was in Orange County. But he said, Paul, I want to write something. I want the residents of Sun Lakes to know exactly what I experienced at the Yorba Linda Country Club. And so he wrote this out for me, and I'm going to read it to you. Good evening, fellow Sun Lakers. As mentioned earlier this month in the restaurant meeting with my wife Mary and I being newbies, we still live here full-time, but as retirement approaches, we are looking forward to living here on a more permanent basis. So he has 2 homes, one in Orange County and one here in Sun Lakes. We lived in Yorba Linda since 1993 and joined the Yorba Linda Country Club in 2000. As one of the premier private clubs in Orange County, the club has always met the standard of excellence. About 5 years ago, Troon selected by the club's owner, Sanyo Foods, to take over our management of the golf course, the food and the beverage, tennis club, swimming pools, etc. Here are some anecdotal evidence of its actions thus far. Troon has been very aggressive with capital upgrades and expenditures in the short tenure, which include $1.6 million irrigation overhaul, an $800,000 project to overhaul every single bunker, miscellaneous clubhouse improvements including furnishings and restroom upgrades, a ladies' clubhouse remodel, major tree removal and golf path repairs, $900,000 for golf course maintenance equipment, and they created a new director's position for golf. Considering our club is non-equity, similar to Sun Lakes, we were never assessed a cover expenditure rather than Sanyo's decision to fund the club's upgrades. But there still is no free lunch, so the money must come from somewhere. As I mentioned before, the revenue to cover the expenditures have come directly from monthly dues increases, which have been substantial. In fact, in 2021 through current, monthly dues have risen for 5 consecutive years for a total of a 50% increase. Our dues from 2021 were $710 a month, and today they're $1,065. We haven't even got to the good parts yet. Hang on. In addition, our trail fees for private carts were raised from $950 annually, which I thought was outrageous, to $1,500 today. Plus, to add insult to injury, if members bring a guest to ride in their private cart, the member was assessed a $20 fee to do so. And we were never allowed, never permitted to have more than 2 carts per group. Thus, you cannot use your private cart as a solo rider. Now, with over 600 full golf members, it's easy to figure that raising dues by, for example, $100 per month yields an additional $720,000 annually to the coffers. Impressive. Yet we personally don't believe Sun Lakers want, moreover, can afford this rate in price hikes. Mary and I chose Sun Lakes to simplify our lives, lower costs for playing golf, and still enjoy the amenities of the community that has to offer. The first time we visited to look at homes, we were pleasantly surprised in how pristine the property is. Then, when we finally played the course for the first time, we were overjoyed with the surface conditions of the fairways, tee boxes, the new bunkers, and absolutely pure putting greens, let alone the fantastic practice area. So our main attraction is golf, yet we slowly coming to appreciate the neighbors, and we are meeting folks in the clubhouse and everything that makes Sun Lakes what I call a practical man's La Quinta. Honestly, Yorba Linda might be a premier part of Orange County, but I believe quality of Sun Lakes Country Club equals, if not exceeds, Yorba Linda Country Club. And shout out to the golf shop. David and staff are friendly, helpful, knowledgeable, and a fine asset to the golf experience. I would be disappointed if Troon made any personnel changes, particularly of the course superintendent and staff. Our course conditions are not perfect, but man, they are very, very good. Our hope is to maintain our quality while not pricing our golf members out of the picture. From Mark Villarreal.
Good evening, Sun Lakes residents. My name is Ken Johnson on Birdie Drive. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about a decision that will affect our community for years to come. The board is considering, as you well know, a new management company, Troon, and before that decision is made, I believe every homeowner deserves to understand a few important facts. In late June 2026, reports indicated that Troon's majority owners, TPG Inc. and Leonard Green and Partners, have engaged investment bankers to explore a potential sale and solicit interest for prospective buyers for their Scottsdale-based golf and community management company. This follows the recent $3 billion acquisition of Invited Clubs, Troon's primary competitor, by KSL Capital Partners. There's money there. As of today, Troon has not been sold. However, the sales process appears to remain in the early marketing and initial bidding stage, and no buyer or definitive agreement has been publicly announced. In summary, entering into a management agreement with Troon before a potential sale is not inherently inadvisable. However, if a pending acquisition does occur, it could increase uncertainty regarding future management philosophy, staffing, pricing, and operational priorities. Given the uncertainty, is now the appropriate time to change management companies? This isn't about opposing Troon. It's about making sure we've done our homework. Troon Golf operates and is the largest third-party golf and golf-related hospitality management company in the world. A typical Troon customer varies depending upon the business segment, but much of Troon's business concentrates in golf, private clubs, resorts, homeowners associations, HOAs, and master plan communities. If Troon is selected, then we'll have a general manager here at Sun Lakes, supported by specialists from Troon's regional office in Irvine. What isn't yet publicly clear is how the support structure will affect costs and what additional value will be provided. These are reasonable questions for the board to ask. In my research, I could not find a California 55-plus community where Troon publicly identifies as providing complete HOA management services. If such communities exist, they are not clearly identified in Troon's published information. Troon operates its dedicated HOA management through ICON Management, that's I-C-O-N, Management Services. While ICON operates a broad portfolio of non-government community associations, its historical concentration and data reporting are heavily weighted towards the East Coast markets, Florida. Sun Lakes is first and foremost a large homeowner association. It's Troon's experience the best match for the needs of Sun Lakes? Another part of due diligence is understanding how a company has handled significant legal and operational challenges. One example involves Troon's subsidiary, again, ICON Management Services. In March 2026 of this year, they finalized an $18 million negligent security settlement over a fatal Florida carjacking case. According to court records, the settlement was covered under Troon's liability insurance, illustrating how large management companies use corporate insurance to manage litigation risk. A separate ongoing example involves Foothills Golf Course dispute. Filed in Maricopa County Superior Court in mid-2025, the owner of Foothills Golf Course in that properties sued Troon Golf and its partner company for allegedly destroying greens and performing improper irrigation work, something we need. Because the case remains pending, these allegations have not been decided by the court. The owner in early 2026, which is California-based, terminated Troon's contract, the management contract. Following a national search, the owner hired Landscape Golf Management under a multi-year agreement to take over all of the clubhouse and court ergonomy operations. So, changing management companies is, again, one of the most significant decisions this homeowner board can make. Ultimately, that decision does belong with the board. But as homeowners, we should expect the decision to be based on thorough due diligence, objective analysis, and complete transparency. Changing management companies also involves transition costs, staff adjustments, technology changes, and a period of adjustment for both employees and homeowners. This isn't about opposing Troon. It's about making sure we've done our homework to protect Sun Lakes Country Club, our little piece of heaven. Thank you. I introduce Paul Beeks to deal with the summary and closing. Thank you again.
Well, I have a little different take on things. But by the end of my speech, I think you'll thoroughly understand exactly where I stand. A wise friend of mine told me of an old Buddha proverb that seems to fit well with Sun Lakes today. It goes like this: there are three things that cannot long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. The Sun Lakers for Accountability work hard to bring the truth and transparency to this community. Our committee is comprised of fair-minded residents trying to prevent another Sun Lakes financial crisis. We are not only bringing our voice to the table, but your voice as well. Our single biggest concern is the board's inability to comply with a proven procurement process. I have talked with multiple purchasing professionals in the past few months. I repeatedly asked them approximately how many pages of documents would it take to properly write a request for proposal replacing first service residential. I have heard estimates that range from 40 to 60 pages. Sun Lakes, do you want to know how many pages our RFP is comprised of? 8. Approximately 1 month ago, one of our past board presidents told me while sitting in the lounge that he and his colleagues decided on hiring Troon 3 years ago. No wonder they skipped on the majority of the procurement process, because they already knew who they wanted to hire. There was never a real procurement marketing process with qualified competing firms. Sun Lakes, we deserve a properly vetted bidding process for each and every vendor. In order to do so, we need a strong, well-qualified procurement committee. Our procurement committee lately has been run like a 3-ring circus. Since Gary Burkle has become the board president and board liaison to the procurement committee, 3 of the 6 current procurement members have resigned and 1 was removed by the board. The procurement committee is a critical component to our financial security. We need serious leadership change to maintain stability within the procurement committee. I am not an attorney, however, I believe the board has violated its fiduciary responsibility due to the board's lack of process. Our board should not underestimate my comments. This is very serious, a very serious assertion. To the community of Sun Lakes, our community-based recall is necessary, and we need to put an end to these reckless decisions. Furthermore, a community-based injunction against the board is next level and may be necessary. In order to go that route, we would need to fundraise immediately because time is of the essence. On June 29, 2026, an article was published by Mergers and Acquisitions regarding Troon. 2 private equity firms known as TPG and Leonard Green are the majority owners of Troon. These 2 firms are currently exploring the potential sale of Troon and have engaged investment bankers to determine buyer interest. This discovery is a very serious implication regarding the Troon transition. I have more than 10 years' experience working for 2 Wall Street firms. I can tell you that companies that put themselves up for sale intentionally reduce their business expenses in order to expand their profits. Consequently, this business strategy can significantly increase a company's business valuation. Given this information, do you believe there is a chance that Troon will cut corners here in Sun Lakes in order to increase their company's profit and valuation? Let's say 3 months into the Troon takeover and Troon gets bought out by another company. Do you honestly believe the acquiring company of Troon will fulfill their newly required contract in a timely manner? The Troon transition should be put on hold while Troon is up for sale because there is extraordinary risk to our community. When the board says Troon cannot raise our dues without board approval, I really feel uncomfortable. Since when does the board hesitate in raising dues? When Social Security recently raised our COLA 2.5%, our board raised our monthly dues 5%. That sounds like poor management to me. Our board president said at the latest Coffee with the Board that he has more business savvy than our own business attorney. As a CPA, one would hope so. Davis Sterling requires more of a board member that has credentials such as a real estate broker, lawyer, or even a CPA. This begs into question how Gary Burkle, as a CPA, could have recommended to the board to sign the Morrison CCO contract, which led to the loss of $700,000. I ask you this evening, do you believe Gary Burkle is equipped to lead the Troon negotiations? The Morrison CCO contract was reviewed by their board attorney. However, the board failed to request that it be reviewed from the standpoint of business risk. Members of the previous procurement committee reviewed the Morrison CCL contract and discovered 32 major errors after the contract was signed by the board. This report was sent to the board on March of 2025, a week before the Morrison CCL commenced the new contract, and was ignored by the board. Sun Lakes, the potential management change has been extremely stressful for the First Service employees and their families. Several great First Service employees have left our community out of fear of losing their jobs without little to no notice. Our board president has not only put First Service employees through turmoil, but the entire community as well. To those of you who signed the petition to recall Gary Burkle, we thank you. I am sorry to report that there was a security breach of those signed petitions. Our committee has received several written complaints from residents that Nora Burkle has been contacting and harassing residents who signed those petitions. We have posted on our website additional information regarding this matter. Gary Burkle needs to be recalled due to his poor leadership and poor judgment. Our Sun Lakers for Accountability's legal counsel believes that all major board decisions, including the Troon decision, should be put on hold until the recall is completed. Sun Lakes, Troon is not a fit for our community because we are not a posh resort, and because Troon does not have any HOA experience here in California. The majority of Sun Lakers live on a fixed income, and clearly we cannot afford resort prices. Sun Lakes, the stakes are high. Our community is at risk. We need to hold our ground, ask questions, and most of all, be vigilant. In closing, there is an old saying that still holds true today. A fool and his money are soon parted. Sun Lakes, we are honest with ourselves. And we are certainly not fools. We would like to thank everyone for their attendance this evening and for your desire to become more involved in this critical issues regarding Sun Lakes. Please submit your questions and comments to our SLCC-SLA.org website. Thank you very much.
Again, thank you, and more information will be coming as we prepare to help the community with the Troon decision. Good night.